Welcome to the Empowered Podcast with Deanna Merlino, an all-encompassing personal development show where I will be sharing with you just how to transform yourself into the best version of you, both inside and out. From wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and manifestation, I'll be showing you exactly how to live your best life. I will be keeping it as real and raw as it gets. So get ready to peel back the layers and really transform yourself under the surface. Because nothing is better than finding your purpose and living this life as your true, authentic self. Welcome back, Empowered fam. I am so excited for today's episode. I have an extra special guest with us today. And it's so funny because we've been trying to get this episode recorded for like a hot minute now, but I promise it is so worth the wait. Casey, thank you so much for being here with me and us today. I am going to just open the floor and let you have the mic. Tell us all about who you are, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, I think we can kind of talk about why this meeting is so special, and how we connected at all. I don't actually think we would be here in this little Zoom room without actually having met each other.
Yeah,
about like 10 years ago,
a decade ago. Like, how is that even? That's
possible?
wild. Yeah, literally,
so much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just in the competing realm, I think we met and. We had, some conversations and things like that and experiences together. And although short, it's really funny to come back and, I think you were on the FitFem Project Alignment podcast. So yeah. I think that's really wonderful. And then being on here is definitely a privilege and an honor. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Yeah. I actually shared that recording on my podcast a little while back as well. Meeting with Caitlin was great. But yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, time flies. And before we started the podcast today, we kind of just, caught up for a minute. Like, how was that a decade ago? And so much has changed, but also so much has stayed the same. I would love for you to tell the listeners really what you're up to, what the FitFem project is all about, and what do you keep yourself busy with in your day-to-day business life?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely keep myself busy. That's for sure. So we'll start there. I have a lot of hobbies. My partner right now, we're always biking or paddle boarding or working out or doing something unconventionally fun. And so that's, now that the summer's here and broke up and we're good. So it's some of those really cool, just things to do outside is really nice. Me as a person, love to read. I love my cats, things like that. Just very simple minded. I love the simple pleasures very, very, very much so, because I feel like life is going so fast. Those are the only things that really slow you down,
Yeah, you need that.
But yeah, work is awesome. I would say, a lot of us coaches will kind of say these little things here and there. Like one is like, oh yeah, we get paid to work out. You know what it is, but how we do, but oh my gosh, it's so much more than that. Being a business owner was a whole nother realm itself. Yeah. So, but it brings you so much pleasure and joy and excitement and growth and, just good diamond creating pressure, businesses do. Especially when you're governing your own, you have your own agency and you've got to manifest all these beautiful things and then really take action on them. So sometimes it's hard, imposter syndrome comes in, all those things. So business, yeah, that's jam-packed. It's always just a beautiful spiral of amazingness. But I would say that the part about like being able to, getting paid for working out as a coach, yes, while that happens, because we want to essentially be a billboard of what we preach. We want to practice what we preach daily from the moment you wake up to the moment we go to sleep. Like, you shouldn't be in coach's shoes if you are not doing that. But as a coach and being seen, having seen coaches inside of the FitFem project work the way that they do and have the beliefs that they do, very similar, like 99% similar to mine. That's the reason that they're with us and that we're a team, is because they have the same core values and beliefs and love utilizing the resources that we have, are always willing to learn and push themselves and have hard conversations, things like that. So I would say, while coaches, yeah, we get paid to work out, we get paid for all the hard moments.
Yeah.
But the actual coaching moments when things get hard, because we have moments where we can go ahead and we can, go week to week and be like, man, you're doing such a great job. Let's keep at it. No changes this week. Keep it going. A little bit more profound answers than that. But then there's moments where your clients really need you to show up for them in a different light with some compassion and empathy and real guidance. And sometimes that's challenging for a coach to be able to put themselves in other shoes all the time, especially when you have a giant list of personalities. Your roster and of different personalities, just so vastly, beautifully unique. And so coaching comes in those hard times. So I would say a lot of my time is spent on self-help and growth, putting myself in those uncomfortable places that I feel like my clients will encounter and learning from them so that I can be the best coach that I can be inside the FitFem project and for Team Casey. So Team Casey is the contest prep, the bikini bodybuilding squad. And we've got the FitFem project, which it just manifested and snowballed so beautifully out of Team Casey, because we were back in 2018 or 19, just getting a lot of requests for a more lifestyle approach. And we started taking that on. I hired a coach to help me do that. Someone that had a better perspective of a more lifestyle way of doing things, because I had been a bodybuilding coach for so long and I had coached myself. So that was what I was really familiar with and good at. And it was really cool to see that just start to fruition. We were still Team Casey's lifestyle team and then Team Casey competition team. And I was like, one day I was like, we're growing and we need to make this transition, this very painful transition. It's hard to come out from a comfortable spot. But knowing that all of your time and energy is being put into this, and how can you make this scalable? How can you impact more lives in a positive way and fully, without duping the system, without cutting yourself short on growth too. Like there's an investment on both sides when you're working with a client. And when you take on a new client, you take on their challenges too, to be able to actually grow into the FitFem project and continue to make a massive impact and keep all that integrity and stuff locked down has been a journey, but it's been a really beautiful one, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I love that so much. We were also talking right before we started, when people come in for training, there is at the root something so much deeper than just that desire of I want to fit in the bikini again, or, I want to lose some weight. Like there's something at the core of that. And so I really love how you were just talking about how that is a coach's job too. And that means that you have to be learning and expanding and preparing yourself to be able to hold that space for the clients as well. So I love that you really bridged that gap and were willing and able and had the capacity to evolve and expand, from A to B, because that's part of all of it too. Like in this journey is just that expansion and evolution. And I think as with all business owners, we kind of it's like we launch something, we create something, and then you hit a point of growth where it's like, okay, there's something happening here. Do I pivot? Do I expand? Do I really having to sit with that discomfort of this is much bigger than me and I'm being called to show up in a bigger, different way. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you said that there's possibilities of all right, so expansion and pivoting, but then there's also that question of okay, or do we hold tight? Because as a business owner, I've also been in those positions where I'm like, how is everybody just changing all their stuff and they're getting more reach, they're able to impact more people, and they're able to to be seen more. And as a business owner in the last year and a half, that's been where the struggle has lied, and guiding my team in the right direction. And it was just one day where we all were just like, man, we don't need to change anything. While everyone else is trying to move and change their marketing and their not actual skill sets or anything like that, while we were just kind of observing that in a light way, via social media, because social media is
a whole other it's a whole other monster. Yeah,
you gotta believe half of what you see, or what is it, half of what you see, none of what you hear type of thing. For social. So especially social. So it's one of those things where as a business owner, you're like, man, like, what could we be doing better? Okay. Should we shift here? Should we shift, people, we're trying to see like, oh, where's what do we need to help this new set point for these clients? What do we need for this type of client? And, trying to reach, and eventually it starts to feel like, it doesn't feel like growth anymore. It feels like chasing. Yeah. There was a moment where I was like, y'all, I want you guys to go back to doing what y'all do best.
Yes.
I called it, and we had to just go. We had to say, all right, these new things that we're trying, they're not us. We got into a scarcity mindset, and where we can all we're kind of programmed right now, like in society, to have to think about that stuff all the time. What if we don't have anything? What if, those things like that? Everybody goes through it. I mean, we're all hauling ass for eggs and toilet paper over the last couple of years. Like, oh, come on. Like we're programmed to live in all of this scarcity mindset. So the whole project is just honestly about, the FitFem project is all about abundance and giving back to yourself in your fitness journey rather than taking away, because that alone is healing in itself. And I think we kind of spoken to how bringing more into your fitness journey is going to help you satiate and nourish those empty vessels, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And when you start to really dig into that stuff, there was stuff that really matters, the stuff that actually keeps you moving forward when your body does not, when your body's tired, your mind has to come in, and you have to start regulating your emotions and helping yourself through these challenging times, through these feelings. And then, spiritually, whatever that means for you guys, like, you have to be able to be introspective about all of these things that are being thrown at you, trying not to gain too much outside perspective, because all those perspectives are based on other people's lives and traumas and things that they have,
their experience,
they have with them. Sure. Yeah. So being able to be introspective and start that growth process closer to home and fulfill those needs, your body is going to change, and you're not even going to realize it. It's going to just have this vibrancy. It's going to understand that it can have what it wants, and it starts to move, and it starts to work with you rather than against you. So that's our full belief behind the FitFem project and Team Casey.
I love that so much. I want to just backtrack to what you were talking about in the beginning of that too, is like one of the most important things that we have is our authenticity and our true voice. So, just really cutting through and shutting down all the noise, especially with social media, and your ability to be like, you know what, crew, like, let's pull it back. Let's just go back to what is your superpower? What are you good at? And not chasing all that, like the algorithm did this and now we have, right? Like, and at the end of the day, like that in itself is a whole, like, that's artificial intelligence. It's going to continue to change, coming back to what is my superpower. And I'm going to show up with that regardless of the way the system's set up, or, how this is going to, when you truly stand in your power and you believe that what you have to offer is going to be the best for everyone, screw the algorithm, screw the socialists, screw the new shiny changes, right? And that's what's gonna, and that's what's gonna help you long term, because these people who are willing to blow with the wind, that's not going to stand long term. There is no stability and structure in staying afloat through all of that.
Yeah, that's perfectly said.
Okay, so I would love to hear, what do you think? What has been your personal we'll shift at some point, but what has been your personal biggest struggle in entrepreneurship at any phase of the journey, whether it's starting or currently? Just what is something that has been a large struggle for you?
I mean, I feel like everything's got a little bit of struggle to it for sure. But we would stay stagnant. Nothing would blossom without it. We can all, like, as business owners, we can all agree that no matter how many times we've busted through imposter syndrome, that we still have bouts of it, because we take more risks or bigger risks or less calculated, and we're just like, man, I just feel this in my bones. And sometimes that's all you have.
Yeah. Oh, and chills. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just go, you jump, and then you sprint full speed at it, like that was the one thing, you know what I mean, that was going to change everything. And so that imposter syndrome, I would say, in a grand scheme of how much impact and how much change you can make in yourself and the world and other people is governed sometimes by that little teeny tiny little imposter syndrome, that one little thought or belief that you have about yourself or your abilities that hold you back from this big bang, this absolutely just internally altering and beautifully changing, just evolving, either it's a project or an idea or something with yourself or something, whatever it might be. It's got to be imposter syndrome. And then also that imposter syndrome applying to not getting caught up in, like you had kind of mentioned, that shiny object syndrome, essentially. Like if you are authentic and if you are someone that has real culture, or a business that has real culture and beliefs, those bottoms don't shift. They stay.
Mm-hmm.
You can play your chess pieces a little bit differently, whatever it might be. Cause regardless of this freaking algorithm and stuff like that, you still have to learn how to navigate that stuff. And so I think that we can get into those places where we don't want to take ownership because we are like, oh, we can easily blame other things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so with inside of that imposter syndrome, I feel like they're in the shiny object syndrome, and that I feel like they're all just distractions. So it's easy to get distracted. So I think it's about making sure that you're not trying to take in too much information that you don't need without taking action or challenging your beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
or which would come with being introspective, of course, and actually putting stuff, like actually when you put it into actions, sustain it. And that goes with anything in life, growing a business, changing your body.
I thank you for sharing that. And I feel like that's something that we all go through. Like you said, especially when you reach new levels, it's like, okay, that kicks in again. What am I doing? Do I have, like, is this really me? Do I have the capacity to hold this? Do I have the capacity to lead through this? Right. I've
Exactly.
actually gotten to a place in my healing journey where I'm kind of like a sick freak, in the sense of like I get kind of excited when I hit the really hard places, because I am so confident and certain that the other side of that is going to be so beautiful. So like when that's coming up for me, I'm like, oh, a big up level is coming. Like if
Mm.
I'm feeling this way, something really big is on the other side of this. So I've kind of found joy a little bit in the suffering, in the sense of like, okay, really cool things are coming after this. And then what was the other thing? There was something that you just said that I wanted to touch on. Um, it was something with socials and the algorithm. I don't know, maybe I'll come back to it, but
Taking
I would,
ownership.
no, it wasn't that. It might come back. If it doesn't, that's okay. I would love for you to share then, since those have been your biggest struggles, how you have personally dealt with that. Like, how have you, you know, rode the waves and come out on the other side of it so that you continue to keep moving forward in your business?
Yeah. Um, I got to be really, really honest with you on that. Um, the big impactful stuff, or the really big shifts that I had the most fear with and the most uncertainty, that were filled with the most unknowns,
Mm.
it was very much about just doing it scared. Because at the end of the day, you can still pick your ass back up if it doesn't work out.
Yes. I
I
wish
mean,
more people lived by that.
yeah, there's a certain amount of hero mentality though that you have to obtain, and you only obtain that, like you kind of said, that you kind of have a little bit of a joy in the suffering, because you get to go to battle and you get to learn something new, and you get to put a new sword in your pack, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like having enough courage and bravery built up over time from experiencing these things,
Mm.
and being able to transition all of these little milestones throughout your entire life, whether it's in your relationship or your job or your body or whatever it is, all of that comes back to that one central orb that is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it all collects there, and you can use these powers for everything that you have in life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
I think the biggest thing, like I said, is being able to push yourself, having the courage to push yourself to achieve a new level of bravery, and then taking that bravery, even when you're scared, being able to say, I have done some hard stuff. I know I can pick myself back up. Let's see how this goes.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. That all of that gave me chills. And I think it's so important to like, no, there is nothing, literally nothing. It doesn't matter how difficult it feels, how scary it gets, good, bad, or ugly. There's nothing that we cannot handle. There's nothing that will come our way that not only can we not handle, but that we weren't not meant to navigate. Like that is happening for a reason. There's a lesson there. And like you said, that whatever we get through that experience, whether it's in relationships or business or friendships or whatever, it is going to serve us in some purpose in life. Like that lesson that we got from whatever is meant to serve us. And it's kind of like you said, the sword in the backpack. It's almost like taking these qualities and they're also in our backpacks. And it's like, you know what? I'm in this situation where I need to pull this out and use this now. Like I went through that because it was going to give me the armor for this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And being, not being afraid to fall or fail.
So, yeah, not being afraid to fall or fail is really big, because it's allowing yourself to do these things doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that that didn't work. And there are so many other things to try, so many other different ways to think about things. And, you know, once you kind of like put a little bit of time and you tax all those out, you can say, all right, does this serve me or my purpose or whatever I'm trying to have it serve? No. Okay. See you later. Try something new. You know, we just got into mountain biking. I just got my bike and I have been nonstop taking it out. And every time that I'm taking it out, I'm getting challenged in a different way. I'm getting challenged where I'm sad. I'm getting challenged where my butt hurts. I'm getting challenged and I can't sit down. My legs are tired and I've got some knee problems and I'm getting challenged that way. And then I'm like, damn, I can't get up this hill. Now I'm mad. Like I'm getting challenged in these really beautiful ways and learning how to emotionally fall and pick myself back up and regulate. And then I've also actually fallen off my bike. Like once you start to learn to fall and you learn to not be scared of the fall or the fail, and you take it and you're like, wow, this is another lesson. All right, we'll try to do better next time or do something different.
Mm-hmm. I love that. What a good way of explaining that too. And, you know, when you look at people who have grown big businesses or been successful in all ways, it's not a failure. Like there's really no such thing as failing. It's just, okay, it didn't work this way. So we're going to try it a different way. We're going to go about it a different way. Like we learn through our failures. Without failures, we wouldn't experience success. And we also wouldn't learn our strengths and our skills if we didn't get to experience that other side of the polarity of it. Right. So yeah, I love that so much. I would love for you to share your advice for people in whatever, you know, whatever they're going through, how to pick themselves back up, maybe from the failure or even the fear of starting and, you know, just pushing through.
Fear of starting or pushing through. I think that there's no real strategy in order to do that. But here's what I will say. If there's something calling you forward and you can't figure out what it is, you will feel an immense amount of misalignment in your life. You will feel like things don't make sense. You will feel like you could feel like you're trapped. You could feel like there's nothing left. You could feel like something's taking from you more than it's giving back. And when you start to feel these things, that's when you can start to say, man, I have a lot of probably hard decisions to make, or I have a lot of bravery that I need to tap into. It's in those moments that you start to, when you're introspective and you're just going one at a time. Do not take all of these on, because it's the makeup of your entire life. Okay. Some things might be going beautifully. Okay, cool. But also that beautiful thing, you might want to look at it and try to keep it beautiful by working on these things that are misaligned, because that shit will trickle in. and it will start to feel like everything in life starts to take, or doesn't feel good, doesn't feel stable. Right. And while I'm not like the perfect model of alignment 24/7, I do feel like I can call it. I can really call it when I'm like, that shit ain't working and it's affecting this. And I have a hard decision to make so that I can get rid of this anxiety, this pressure, this just I unknowns are fine when you're happily venturing, but when you have this unknown crippling of like just weight on you that you don't know what it is, it's a lack of alignment in your life because it's something that's not you that you're carrying.
Like the walls are caving in.
Yes, ma'am. Up and yeah, man. Yeah. So it's, while I don't have an actual strategy to help push through those things, you will know when you are being called forward to evolve and change.
I would ask then, and obviously this isn't a blanket for everyone because everyone's different, but in those situations, what has been your way of dealing with those moments, those hard moments that we all have and we all face? What has worked for you?
So I will say that I take myself to, I'm going to be fully transparent here. Relationships, business, self, and then all of the things that come into that and make those what they are. My lack of alignment comes in where I'm not able to call how much suffering is enough. And it's almost as if I'm continuously learning the same lesson until it until I really get tanked at the bottom. And I'm trying to right now in my life, everywhere in my life, trying to not completely tank myself at the bottom before I pick myself back up and start to just have a more intuitive ability to understand what is serving me and what is not, while also remaining curious and open to pain and hurt or light, love, and uplifting moments, whatever it might be, and giving myself the space and grace through those moments to say, man, yeah, you did let yourself go a little further there that you didn't really need to, but it's okay. And, we're learning along the way, but you still need to give yourself grace and respect through all those moments, because what were you taught up until this point? Other people's stuff, man. So you're just figuring this stuff out for yourself. There's no rule book. And if you're trying to follow somebody else's rule book, you're going to feel a misalignment for your entire life.
Absolutely.
Or if you're even trying to follow in their footsteps, you will feel a massive lack of alignment trying to fulfill something that wasn't meant for you, or at least not your path in getting there. I hope that helps. Yeah,
that was amazing. Thank you for being so, vulnerable and raw with that. Literally, I felt myself starting to get emotional. And I think that speaks to all of us to some degree. It's almost like, okay, I know I'll survive this, but where do I need to stop? Where do I need to cut short of just merely surviving through this, right? Like, where can I draw a hard line in the sand? And yeah, like you said, too, just having so much grace for yourself as you go through it. And again, no matter how far you dive into I took it all the way to I can't take it anymore. You're still choosing, and I don't mean you, I just mean in general, you're still choosing to continue that lesson until you learn the lesson. Like there's still something to be learned, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Okay. If there's anything that you want to share, is there anything that you want to share with these beautiful people today, whatever it may be, anything that's on your heart, anything that's on your mind, anything that you wanted to talk about today, whatever it is, this is your moment. This is your moment to do so.
I think I would say, because we got, we really tapped into like my 4, which is like the spiritual side of these things, emotional, mental, and physical. Like if you imagine that each of those aspects of each of those makeups of your life, of you, who you are, as ladders, and you've got you just climbing up those ladders. Let's go with fitness, since we are, primarily connected, you and I, through the fitness realm. So we've got fitness, and you and I we're climbing up our own ladders of fitness, but we're forgetting, we're on autopilot. This stuff is hard. And we have a plan laid out for 3 months. All we got to do is follow it. And, but we can easily get lost and misaligned if we aren't also taking some steps to keep the other parts of us stepping up that ladder with us. The only way we're going to grow and get to that next level of that Donkey Kong by climbing up that ladder, getting up there closer to the goal, is if we're taking all of that stuff up with us. You can't leave emotional down on the level 1. You can't leave spiritual down on level 1. You can't leave mental down on level 1 while you're just trying to change your body, because your body will change. You're going to push it into a place where it must change. But I will tell you right now, if you don't have the mental capacity to handle it, the emotional capacity to handle it, and really understanding who you are to your core, or at least on a journey to figure yourself out, your body's going to go right back down to level 1 without you trying. And actually with you trying to put it in level 3, it will go back to level 1, right where you left everything else.
Big time. We are such multi-dimensional beings. And that means where one, is thriving and the rest is lacking, it will auto-correct itself, whether you want it to or not. Like all of the wheels have to be working, or it's like the car is going to break down, right? Like you can't just have one wheel that's spinning real fast and the rest are stuck in the mud. You're not going to go anywhere. So I could not agree more with that. What a beautiful analogy and way to explain that. Casey, thank you so much for being here today. This has been so amazing. You are just such a beautiful soul. I'm so grateful to know you. I'm honored to know you. Just love watching your journey and growth and just all that you're helping people do. You're amazing. So thank you so much. This has been such a just a blessing to have this time with you. So thank you. Actually, would you like to share where people can follow you? I'll obviously put it in the show notes, but I'm sure my people are going to love you just as much as I do. So how can they connect with you?
First of all, I want to thank you too for reconnecting. This has been awesome and giving me this type of outlet to be able to share this, my heart. So I really appreciate that too. I get emotional thinking about it, because we've been all working behind computers for so long now, and the times have changed so much. So it's really nice to be able to feel genuine connection as if I'm in the same room with you. So I appreciate that. And I would love to come back on as soon as possible.
Oh, I love that. Of course. You're welcome anytime.
And then you can find me on Instagram at casey.samsel. And the FitFem project is just the FitFem project. And official team Casey is official_team_Casey. And that's where we preach all the things that we do on a daily basis.
Amazing. Thank you. Everyone, definitely go check her out. Casey's just clearly incredible. And connect into her world. Again, thank you, Casey, for being here. This has been a blast. Sending you all of my love. And to all of the listeners, I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week. And I'll see you next time on the Empowered with Deanna Merlino podcast. Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to dive deeper in with me, you can follow me on Instagram at theempoweredcoach333. You can also check out everything I have to offer on my website, which is deannamerlino.com. Whatever platform you are listening on, do your girl a favor and please rate and subscribe. This means so much to me and is going to help the show grow and reach so many other people. I am so grateful that you are here with me on this journey of growth and self-empowerment. I cannot say that it will always be easy, but I do promise that it will always be worth it. Stick with me and let's start living as the version of ourselves that we were truly meant to be, because the world is waiting on your gifts and you deserve to live the life of your wildest dreams and beyond. So friends, let's get empowered.